She didn't cry. She didn't yell. She didn't even pack in front of the cameras. Jenny was just gone. The crew waited outside her apartment for 6 hours, thinking she'd come back to film her final confessional. But she never did. TLC scrambled, trying to figure out how to explain her absence to the audience without showing what really happened. And what happened started way before she vanished. It started quietly, in a way that doesn't register until it's too late. Sumit had been disappearing for weeks. Not all day, just for a few hours every other afternoon. His phone stayed behind. He'd mumble something about family errands or business with his uncle. Jenny didn't question it at first. That was the problem. This wasn't the first time she'd convinced herself to trust him, but her stomach started tightening every time the door closed behind him. What snapped her out of it wasn't a text or a voicemail. It was a bill. She'd opened her wallet to find a receipt tucked inside. One she never remembered seeing. Not a restaurant. Not groceries. A translation service. Printed in Hindi. Jenny didn't speak or read it, but she knew that logo. It was the same service she and Sumit used when she first came to India and had documents translated for her visa. Except this time, she hadn't asked for anything to be translated. The receipt was 2 weeks old. That meant Sumit had used her card, again, without telling her. She sat there for 20 minutes staring at it. The amount wasn't huge, but that wasn't the point. The point was, he lied. Again. And didn't even bother to hide it. He used the same service they'd both been to. As if she wouldn't notice. Or maybe, as if she wouldn't care. That's when something shifted. She didn't confront him right away. She waited. She started watching patterns. The times he left. The excuses. The gaps. The fact that he always changed the subject whenever she brought up their future in the US. He used to say he'd go anywhere with her. Now, he just said things were complicated. The next day, she found 2 more receipts in the side pocket of their shared desk drawer. Both were translations. One was tied to property. The other was marked as family document verification. This time, Jenny didn't wait. She grabbed her purse, walked out, and went straight to the same office in Old Delhi. The same place she'd once held Sumit's hand and smiled through paperwork she barely understood. They remembered her. The woman behind the counter looked nervous when Jenny asked about the receipts. She disappeared into the back for several minutes before returning with the files. Jenny asked to speak to someone in English. A young man came out. Said his name was Rahul. He opened the first file, read it quietly, then looked up. This says, "Marriage registration verification," he said, slowly. "It's a check of a legal document. This is the copy your partner requested." Jenny froze. He asked to confirm if it's still valid. And yes, it is. She didn't understand at first. "What do you mean, still valid?" "It means the marriage is still on record. In the system. Not annulled." Jenny didn't say a word. She took the paper and walked out. That was the last time production saw her on a scheduled filming day. She didn't tell the crew where she was going. But Sumit knew she knew. And that's when he stopped coming home. It started with a folder. One of those overstuffed ones, nearly bursting with printouts, notepads, and photocopies she kept from every visa application, rental agreement, and bureaucratic mess she ever touched in India. Jenny had always been the one keeping records. Sumit was careless, forgetful. He treated paperwork like clutter. She treated it like proof. After the translator's confirmation about a still active marriage, Jenny didn't scream or throw things. She sat in silence for over an hour at the cafe across the street. When she got home, she opened the drawer and pulled out every document they'd collected since she moved. Birth certificates, lease agreements, power of attorney paperwork. Everything she'd once signed in good faith, assuming it was to help them build something. But one file stood out. A thick envelope, sealed with a red thread and a single wax stamp. Sumit had told her it was old family paperwork related to the house. She never touched it. She figured it was one of those things lost in translation. And honestly, back then, she didn't care. She was trying to be accepted by his family, not investigate them. This time, she opened it. Inside were 3 pages, all in Hindi. Government seal in the corner, a few bolded names. One was his. The other wasn't hers. She didn't jump to conclusions. She couldn't. She didn't understand the language, and by now, she didn't trust her own assumptions, so she scanned the documents and sent them to the same translator from before. Rahul. She told him to be direct. No soft language, no guessing. He emailed her back within the hour. Do you want me to explain over the phone? Jenny didn't hesitate. No. Just tell me now. Okay. The first document is a property title transfer. Looks like your partner moved part ownership to someone else last year. Jenny blinked. To who? Rahul paused. She's listed as a beneficiary spouse. Her name is Karishma. Jenny had never heard that name in her life. She felt her ears ringing. Her chest went hollow. For a second, she thought she might have misheard. She asked him to spell it. He did. Are you sure? She asked. Positive. This is a legal transfer. She's recognized as next of kin. Jenny thanked him and hung up. Then she Googled the name. One profile popped up on Facebook. Private account. But the profile picture was visible, and in it, clear as day, stood Sumit's cousin, the same one who publicly supported their marriage on the other way. He was standing next to Karishma, smiling like family. Her stomach turned. She clicked through tagged photos, found a birthday post from 2 months ago, a group shot in someone's backyard. And there she was, again. Karishma, wearing the same gold necklace Jenny had once seen Sumit hold in his hand, calling it just a gift from an aunt. The betrayal didn't come in a wave. It came in static. Everything blurred. She sat frozen, unable to process how much of her time had been wasted or used. When Sumit came home later that evening, she was waiting. TLC had been filming earlier that day, but Jenny had postponed her interviews. Now she told the crew to set up again. She said she wanted the cameras rolling. Sumit walked into the apartment. He looked tired, disoriented, but not guilty. That's what hit her first. The way he acted like nothing had changed. Like she didn't know. The boom mic operator said later that the air shifted before she even spoke. Jenny didn't yell. She didn't accuse. She asked one question. Who is Karishma? Sumit blinked. He paused, then smiled awkwardly. Who? She pulled out the printed photo, held it up to his face. This woman. The one whose name is on the property transfer. That's when his expression dropped. His mouth opened, then closed. He looked straight at the camera crew and said, Can we stop filming? Jenny didn't flinch. No, she said. We are going to talk about it. Now. Sumit sat down, rubbed his face. It's not what you think. Then tell me what it is, she snapped. He looked to the producer standing in the corner, then back to Jenny. She's someone from before. It's complicated, Jenny interrupted. From before? Then why is she on a legal document you filed last year? The producer stepped in, trying to calm things. Jenny, we should maybe... No, she said again. Let it roll. Sumit stood up. Don't do this here. You already did. The cameraman kept shooting for another 90 seconds. Then, someone in production made a decision. The feed was cut. The full footage never aired. But what happened in the seconds after would send shockwaves across the entire season. Sumit didn't follow her that night. He walked out and didn't come back for 2 days. No messages. No calls. His phone was still at home. Like he wanted to vanish without a trace. Jenny stared at the lock screen more than once, hoping maybe there'd be a hint. A missed call. Something she hadn't noticed. Nothing. It was blank. She let it ring out once, calling from her own number just to feel like she tried. But by then, trying felt pointless. He made himself unreachable. And that was the message. Jenny didn't fall apart. She went cold. When production called the next morning asking if they should show up, she said yes, but not until she got a paper in writing. She made them bring a legal release that said any footage of this incident could not mention names tied to the legal documents. No Karishma. No third-party claims. No property transfer specifics. She didn't trust Sumit. And she didn't trust how TLC would spin this either. They agreed. They needed content. And this was becoming the kind of footage they build finales around. When the crew arrived, Jenny was already on the phone with an attorney. Not a new one, the same lawyer she once consulted during the visa stress. This time, she wasn't asking about residency. She was asking if using someone's funds, under the guise of marriage, while also sustaining another legally binding relationship counted as fraud. The lawyer didn't give a straight answer. They rarely do. But he said one line that stuck. If the other marriage was never dissolved, and if your money was used to benefit that individual, then it's not just unethical, it may be criminal. Jenny nodded slowly. She didn't record the call. She didn't need to. The words sank in all on their own. She thanked him and hung up. Then she looked straight into the camera, voice clear, and said, "I've been made a fool, but I'm done being quiet." By the second day, Sumit still hadn't returned. That's when Jenny started going through more of his things. She wasn't snooping, she was searching. And she found something. A paper tucked inside his passport holder. Not a love letter, not a photo, a receipt from the same government office that issued their marriage certificate. But this one was for a notarized request for review. Dated 4 months ago. She took a picture. Then she called the office. The clerk she reached was helpful. Maybe too helpful. She gave Jenny a copy of the form that had been submitted. It wasn't a renewal of their marriage. It was a formal review to reopen a prior registration from years ago, which meant someone, Sumit, had gone out of his way to verify the legal standing of a relationship before Jenny ever found the translation documents. So he knew. He wasn't surprised during that confrontation because he forgot. He was surprised because he got caught. That's when it stopped being emotional and started being strategic. Jenny printed out everything. She made 2 folders. One for herself. One she labeled TLC Insurance. She started documenting the production's response too. Every waiver they signed, every conversation she had with the assistant director. She wanted receipts. Not because she wanted to sue, but because she wanted to make sure that when this exploded, she wasn't the one left holding the bag. Then, out of nowhere, Sumit walked back in. No explanation, no apology. Just walked in and sat on the edge of the bed like nothing happened. Jenny didn't even look up. He finally spoke. "It's an old misunderstanding." She turned her head slowly. "You had 2 days to come up with that?" "I didn't lie," he insisted. "I just didn't explain." She laughed. Not loud, not cruel, just short and tired. "You didn't explain because you knew what it meant." Sumit stood up again, pacing. "I didn't want to lose you. It was before you and I were even real. Then why did you file a review this year?" He froze. "I saw the paper," she said calmly. "You asked the court to check if your past marriage was still valid. You didn't even tell me you were thinking about it." Sumit rubbed his face. "It's not what you think. It's never what I think," she snapped. "It's always what you hide." The cameras were rolling, but she didn't care anymore. She wasn't performing. She was stating facts. Sumit kept trying to dodge questions, spinning half-truths like it would soften the betrayal. But every word he said just confirmed what she feared. He still wasn't choosing her. He wasn't afraid of losing her. He was afraid of being exposed. She finally cut through the noise. Was the marriage ever annulled? Sumit stayed quiet. "I'll take that as a no." He didn't correct her. He didn't try. Jenny stood up, grabbed her file folder, and walked toward the door, not with emotion, but with intention. And that silence hit harder than any scream ever could. Jenny wasn't sleeping. Not deeply, not peacefully. Every time she closed her eyes, her brain lit up with questions. Not just about Sumit, but about everyone who ever stood next to him and smiled like they were on her side. And that's when it hit her. She'd seen this woman before, not in person, but in the background. She remembered a birthday party from last year, the one Sumit's cousin threw in Gurugram. TLC cameras didn't film it, but Sumit had posted group photos online. Jenny had saved a few. Back then, she thought she was building a scrapbook. Now she was building a case. She scrolled through her gallery. There it was. Group of about 20 people. Sumit's cousin right in the center, holding a cake. And just behind him, smiling with a glass of wine, was the same woman, Karishma. No mistaking it. Same face from the property transfer. Same woman listed as his beneficiary spouse. That photo was timestamped 8 months ago. Sumit told her the marriage was from years ago. So why was she at a family birthday recently, standing next to people who hugged Jenny on camera and called her Bobby? Jenny clicked on the cousin's tagged account. His most recent photo, posted just 2 weeks ago, was of a family lunch. Caption said, "Good food, good company, good women." In the second frame, Karishma was there again. No tag this time, but her smile was unmistakable. She wasn't in the background now. She was seated front and center, right next to Sumit's aunt. Still calling her family. Still protected. Jenny felt her body freeze. Her hands shook, not with rage, but with recognition. This wasn't new. This was something Sumit had kept alive behind her back. And everyone smiled through it. She shut the app and sat on the floor. No music, no noise, just her breathing getting heavier. This was never going to be clean. It wasn't about one lie. It was a pattern. She thought about his mom, the staged screaming, the fake suicide threat, the slow campaign to make Jenny feel like an outsider even after she legally became Sumit's wife. All of it was calculated to keep her distracted. Meanwhile, somewhere in the background, the first wife never left. She called her old friend Alka. A quiet voice of reason, someone she met during her first visa visit to India. Jenny asked her to help find a private investigator, someone low profile, no TLC ties, no noise. Alka hesitated. "Are you sure you want to do this?" "I wasn't sure for 10 years, Jenny answered. "That's what got me here." The pie was expensive, but efficient. He didn't ask many questions. Jenny gave him the name, the photo, and said she needed everything. Current status, ties to Sumit's family, any financial links, property, or court appearances. He said he'd have a full folder within 5 days. Jenny hung up. She didn't know what she was going to do with the information yet. But she had to see it. She had to know how deep this ran. Because at this point, it wasn't just about love. It was about deception, layered in paperwork, property, silence, and denial. 2 days later, she was digging through an old box of receipts. Not even for investigation. She was looking for her old notary stamp. But tucked inside a folded dry cleaning slip was something that didn't belong. A smaller receipt, thin paper, nearly torn in half. It had Sumit's name on it and a partial government logo. She almost tossed it. Then she read the item line. Legal witness fee, registration update, dated 13 months ago. That was before their wedding. She looked closer. The code printed on it matched the department number from the marriage validation office. The same one Rahul mentioned when she sent in the property papers. The same one where Sumit submitted that notarized request for review. He had gone back there over a year ago. Quietly, casually, paid the fee in cash, and never said a word. That meant he reopened his file before he married her, before the TLC tell-all where he cried about how hard it was to convince his parents, before the public vows, before the rings. He had already been moving backward, legally, while moving forward on TV. Jenny folded the receipt slowly. No tears, no gasps. This wasn't new pain. It was old pain catching up. And she was done trying to outrun it. She placed the receipt next to the photo and whispered one line under her breath that wasn't meant for Sumit, TLC, or the fans. Just for herself. I gave you everything. And you gave it to her. It was supposed to fix a roof. That's what Sumit said when he came to her one night with documents in hand, and that tone he used whenever he needed something big. He looked stressed, but familiar. The same routine. Start with guilt, sprinkle in duty, then finish with helplessness. He told her his parents' ancestral home had structural issues. That water was leaking through the upstairs ceiling. That the monsoon season would make it worse. That no one else in the family had money to cover repairs. Jenny didn't argue. She transferred the money the next morning. It was $18,000. She wired it directly from her U.S. account to a bank Sumit said belonged to the contractor. She never saw a contract. No receipts, no breakdown of expenses. But at the time, That didn't matter. She was trying to be supportive, trying to be seen as part of the family. Back then, she still believed every act of generosity would eventually buy her a seat at the table. But now, she knew better. It wasn't until the private investigator returned his file that the pieces started falling into place. Jenny sat at her kitchen table, flipping through the printed dossier. The pie had included everything: Karishma's current address, known relatives, phone logs, financial disclosures from publicly available databases, and most critically, a scanned copy of a business license under her name. That business license was tied to a home restoration firm in Old Delhi, a firm that had received a deposit for exactly $18,000 6 months earlier from the same routing number Jenny had used. She blinked. She looked at the date, then at the account name. The beneficiary? Karishma Singh. Same last name, same woman. Same address listed as the property Sumit allegedly needed to fix. Jenny sat back in her chair. That meant Sumit asked her to send repair money for the home that legally listed another woman as the spouse. He used Jenny's money to fund renovations for a property he wasn't even sharing with her, and never planned to, and he'd done it with a straight face. She didn't remember standing up. But she was suddenly pacing. Her hands were shaking, not from heartbreak this time, but from calculation, from replaying the last year through a new filter. How many other expenses had been diverted without her noticing? How many other lies had been treated like necessities? She pulled up her banking app, opened her transfer history, and screenshotted everything. Then she called her lawyer again. He picked up on the first ring. "Tell me this," she said. "If someone uses your funds under false pretenses to benefit a third party tied to a concealed legal relationship, is that grounds for fraud?" The line went quiet for a second. Then he said, "It can be. But it depends on what you knew and when." Jenny exhaled slowly. "I knew nothing." He asked her to send the documents. She did. He promised to review it in detail, but added, "If this woman is legally recognized as a spouse and benefited directly from your funds while your partner concealed that relationship, we're not talking about a marital dispute anymore. We're talking financial misrepresentation, maybe even civil fraud." Jenny thanked him, hung up, and then did something she hadn't done in months. She called production. The number went straight to the assistant director. She asked to speak with legal. Within 2 hours, a TLC lawyer was on the phone. She laid it all out. Every receipt, every file, every match. And she told them flatly, "If you plan to use my storyline to boost ratings while hiding this reality, you're exposing yourself. I have the paperwork. I have the screenshots. I'm not the one playing a role anymore." They tried to deflect, tried to say this was between her and Sumit. She didn't back down. "You filmed me for 10 years, she said. "You filmed my pain, my embarrassment, my breakdowns. Now I have something real, and you want to blur it out?" The next day, production offered a compromise. They would continue filming her side of the story, but all legal names would remain blurred. She agreed. On one condition. She wanted full footage access after the season aired. And she wanted editorial veto over anything implying she overreacted. They weren't thrilled, but they agreed. Because they knew they were sitting on a story too explosive to bury. By the end of the week, Jenny had moved most of her valuables into a friend's flat across town. She didn't say she was leaving permanently, not yet, but she wasn't going to sleep under the same roof as Sumit while legal wires were still smoking. Sumit returned the night she packed her jewelry box. He acted confused, distant, like he didn't understand why she was angry again. She didn't scream. She just turned to him and said, "You used me." He flinched. "No, you took $18,000 from me. Told me it was for your family. Then sent it to another woman, the same woman listed as your legal spouse." Sumit froze. Jenny stared at him. "I saw the wire transfer. I saw the license. I saw the property registry. You didn't just lie to me. You cashed in on me." He didn't deny it. He just said, "It was for repairs." She let out a short, bitter laugh. "So you admit it?" He didn't answer. She stood still, face steady. "I don't need you to apologize," she said. I just need you to understand that this, whatever this was, it's over. His face twitched. He stepped forward, then stopped. I did love you, he whispered. Jenny looked him in the eye. Then why does all the proof say otherwise? He had no answer. He turned away. That night, production emailed her the updated waiver. She signed it, then forwarded it to her attorney. She didn't need closure. She needed consequences. And this time, she wasn't letting anyone blur the truth. The weird part wasn't that Jenny was still filming. It was how her scenes kept disappearing. Her interviews were shorter, clipped. Her voiceovers felt choppy. The timeline looked off. The fans noticed first. Reddit threads popped up asking why Jenny suddenly had less screen time during the most dramatic phase of her storyline. Why was she always reacting, never explaining? Where were her confessionals? Where was her version? On set, she gave them everything. She answered the questions. She even broke down during one interview when she tried to explain what betrayal like this does to a person's sense of reality. But none of it aired. And that's when she realized this wasn't just Sumit trying to hide something anymore. Production was in on it too, or at least trying to protect itself. She confronted one of the field producers between shoots. He looked uncomfortable. Said something about editing direction changing. Said legal wanted less real-time commentary and more relationship arc building. Jenny didn't buy it. She pressed harder. Are you scrubbing me out? He shook his head quickly. No, you're still central. We're just reframing. That word stayed with her, like she was a crooked picture, not a person. She didn't tell him that she'd already spoken to another network. She didn't tell him that she'd been approached twice, once by a podcast and once by a production assistant from a rival show, asking if she was under any kind of gag order. Apparently, the legal rumors were starting to spread. She didn't sign anything. But something felt off. And then she was spotted. A fan account posted a blurry photo of Jenny walking past the American embassy in Delhi. She was carrying a black leather folder and had her head down. The caption read, "Is Jenny filing a report or applying for a visa back out?" It went viral. Within hours, fan pages were tagging TLC, asking for answers. Jenny didn't respond. She didn't post. But Sumit did. 3 cryptic Instagram stories. The first, a black screen with white text. People lie when they're scared. The second, a throwback video of him and Jenny laughing during a cooking challenge episode. No sound, just the visual. Captioned, "What changed?" The third, a screenshot of a WhatsApp message. Blurred, except one line at the top, "You agreed to the plan." That one exploded. Fans were split. Some thought it was proof Jenny had been part of some elaborate stunt. Others thought Sumit was trying to make her look unstable now that she was walking away. Jenny stayed silent. But not idle. She spent the next week collecting everything: emails, production memos, bank statements, screenshots, clips of aired scenes that were edited differently from what she remembered filming. She was building something. Not a case, maybe, but a record, because she didn't trust the edit anymore. And that's when the tension broke again. A mid-season trailer dropped without her in it. Not even once. The same woman who carried this franchise through multiple spin-offs had vanished from the promotional footage. That wasn't just accidental. That was strategic. Jenny called one of the editors she used to keep in touch with. Not officially, but casually. He'd always liked her, respected how she handled herself when other cast members brought chaos. He didn't say much, but what he said was enough. "There's a lot of chatter right now," he admitted. "Legal doesn't want anything used that could imply financial mismanagement or off-screen deception. They're trying to minimize exposure." "Exposure to what?" He hesitated, then said, "Everything you gave them. They know it's real, but they don't want to be responsible for where it goes next." Jenny sat still. "So you're burying it? I'm not burying anything," he said quickly, "but they're editing around it. They're softening the arc." Softening. Reframing. Minimizing. She thanked him and ended the call. Then she opened her notes app and wrote one line. "They're not telling my story. They're protecting theirs." The same day, a fan from Delhi messaged her privately with a blurry photo of Sumit in a coffee shop, seated across from an unfamiliar man in a gray suit. The fan claimed it was near a law office that specialized in defamation defense. She didn't repost it, she didn't confirm it, but she saved the image. Because at this point, the silence was starting to sound like strategy. Then came the kicker. A Reddit post from someone claiming to be a temp assistant on the show said that a primary cast member had requested access to legal consultation through TLC's parent company. The post didn't name names, but it referenced marriage timeline confusion and hidden financial assets being questioned. People in the comments did the math. They knew who it was about. Jenny read the thread in silence. She didn't respond. She didn't deny. Because now, it wasn't just about what happened to her, it was about who helped cover it. And if the story kept getting smaller on TV, she was ready to tell it louder somewhere else. It didn't feel like coincidence anymore. As soon as the mid-season trailer dropped without her name, calls from production stopped. No check-ins, no itinerary updates, no last-minute reshoots. It wasn't a pause, it was a freeze-out. Jenny had been cut loose, but no one wanted to admit it on record. One editor ghosted her. One producer replied with a single emoji, a lock. The message was clear, shut up and disappear. But she didn't. Jenny stopped speaking publicly, but she didn't stay still. She started uploading photos. No rants, no long captions, just images. Intentional, quiet, but packed with meaning. The first one was of a broken chai cup on her doorstep. The second, an old visa stamp from her first trip to India, torn at the corner. The third, blurry but unmistakable, was a figure standing outside a Delhi courthouse, back turned, head down. No tags, no faces, but the shape was familiar. Tall, slouched shoulders. Wearing the same watch Sumit wore on Happily Ever After. That photo set off a chain reaction. Fans flooded the comments. Was that Sumit? What was he doing at a courthouse? Was Jenny filing something? Was this the legal review paperwork from months ago finally reaching its conclusion? No one knew for sure. But speculation spread like wildfire. Pages that never even covered 90 Day Fiancé began reposting the image. YouTube commentary channels went live. Some said Jenny was getting ready to sue. Others claimed TLC had quietly paid her to stay off camera. The chaos swirled. But Sumit? Silent. He didn't post for a week. Not even recycled reels. Then, in the span of one afternoon, 5 posts disappeared from his Instagram grid. All of them had one thing in common. Jenny. Birthday tributes. Throwback reels. A couple's Q&A from their trip to Goa. All wiped. That move only added fuel to the fire. Why was he scrubbing their history? What was he trying to hide? Then came the internal leak. An anonymous Reddit post claimed TLC had issued a nonverbal directive to staff and editors. Jenny's storyline was to be softened and rerouted. The post described a clause buried in the original cast contract that allowed producers to withhold or repurpose footage deemed damaging to overall brand integrity. The term brand integrity became the punchline of the week. Fans started calling TLC the lie control channel. Jenny stayed quiet. She knew better than to jump into the mess directly. But her posts kept landing. One photo showed a document folder on her lap, seal partially visible, an Indian legal stamp, dated 3 weeks earlier. Another showed a wedding photo. Not hers. 2 unknown people, dressed traditionally, arms intertwined. Then came the heavy one. A cropped image of 2 women, one holding a child, the other standing just behind her with a hand on her shoulder. The woman behind was Karishma. That was the photo that turned rumors into firestorms. No caption. No date. Just visual proof that Karishma wasn't a ghost from Sumit's past. She was still present. Still part of a household. Possibly even parenting. The comments exploded. People zoomed in. They theorized. Some claimed Jenny was trying to say Karishma had a child with Sumit. Others guessed she was exposing a hidden custody arrangement. Jenny never clarified. But Sumit did. 12 hours later, he posted a black and white selfie with a caption that finally broke his silence. I'm tired of being dragged for choices that weren't mine alone, but his comment section imploded. You didn't fake love. You faked a marriage. If you didn't want to be dragged, maybe stop hiding wives. She gave you a decade. You gave her receipts. That last one got thousands of likes. Sumit responded once to a fan who said, "So what's the truth then?" His reply, "The truth is complicated." Classic Sumit. Never denying, just deflecting. And then something else changed. Production started messaging other cast members. Not about Jenny, but about scheduling filler content. Interviews, legacy recaps, relationship retrospectives. They were moving on. The season wasn't over, but Jenny's arc was being sanitized, repackaged. The chaos was being condensed into a brief separation storyline with vague wording and open-ended narration. Jenny knew exactly what was happening. So she uploaded one last image. A grainy screen grab of her walking out of a TLC confessional room, clearly mid-filming, clearly mid-tears. The shot was never aired. She captioned it with 4 words. You cut the truth. No hashtags, no emojis, just that. And that was the photo that got picked up by the press. Tabloids ran headlines. Jenny Slatten cut from TLC edits. TLC refuses to address editing scandal. 90-day Fionk viewers demand answers. But TLC said nothing. And Sumit? He went dark again. He wasn't hiding from the truth. He was hiding from the fallout. And by now, everyone watching could see it. The fans didn't hold back. Within 24 hours of Jenny's "You Cut the Truth" post, the floodgates opened. Reddit threads multiplied. Facebook groups turned toxic. Twitter ran full cycles of blame, sympathy, and conspiracy. Some called Sumit a fraud. Others claimed Jenny had to know. That nobody lives in India for 10 years without knowing who owns the walls around them. The debate stopped being about right or wrong. It turned into something more raw: trust, shame, and the cost of staying silent. One thread gained traction fast. A user, claiming to be a neighbor from Sumit's old family compound, posted a blurry photo from 2 years ago. A family gathering. The woman beside Sumit's cousin was labeled Didi, big sister in Hindi, but the comments swore she looked like Karishma. The same woman on the property paperwork. The same woman in Jenny's blurred courthouse photo. She was always around, just out of focus. Then, a curveball dropped. A former cast member, not from Jenny's season, but someone viewers still recognized, posted a cryptic story on Instagram. Second wives and hidden accounts. It's not just editing, it's strategy. Don't get played, no names, no dates. But everyone read between the lines. Fans clipped the story and reposted it on X, TikTok, and Instagram with theories. Some believed the comment was aimed at Sumit. Others claimed it was a subtweet at TLC. Either way, it added fuel. Jenny still said nothing. But then she posted again. Just 3 words. Not your puppet. No tags. No emojis. Just a plain white background with those words in small black font. It wasn't loud. It was surgical. That's when the mood changed. Support started pouring in. Comments turned from suspicion to solidarity. Viewers who had once laughed at Jenny's persistence now called her a survivor. A woman who crossed oceans, outlasted public humiliation, only to be ghosted by the man she defended on global television. And Sumit? He posted a photo of himself with a cup of chai and the caption, "Peace over drama." The comments didn't go well. Peace over drama? Then why lie for years? She gave you peace. You gave her legal bills. Your silence isn't peace. It's guilt. He didn't reply. He didn't delete. But he didn't clarify either. That silence spread. Sumit's family made no public statement. No Instagram story from his cousin. No cryptic family first repost from his mother. Just total blackout. Like they'd been told to keep their heads down. But the pressure was building. Jenny's lawyer, who had remained unnamed publicly, was seen entering a civil registrar's office in Delhi. A fan who claimed to be present that day posted that he carried a folder with 2 names on the label, Jenny Slatten and Sumit Singh. The speculation was immediate. Was Jenny filing for annulment? Or worse, was she trying to legally reverse their marriage and reclaim lost assets? Nothing was confirmed. No court papers leaked. but it was enough to get everyone watching again. TLC still hadn't made a statement. Their official pages continued posting makeup tutorials and side interviews with unrelated cast members. But fans weren't fooled. Every post was flooded with comments about Jenny. Where is she? Why are her scenes cut? Why aren't you showing the real story? One fan DM'd Jenny screenshots of the top comments and wrote, "We're still watching. Don't let them erase you." She replied with a heart emoji. Nothing more. But then came the biggest twist. An anonymous account leaked what they claimed was a production memo listing scheduled pickup scenes for the reunion. Jenny's name wasn't on it, but a new name was. Karishma S. Blurred, last name. Blurred role. But fans lost it. Was TLC actually bringing her on? Was this going to be a confrontation? Or a cleanup? No one could verify the document, but Jenny didn't deny it, and Sumit posted nothing that week. Not even food photos. It felt like they were all waiting for something. An event, a meeting, a decision behind the scenes. Then, the same day the rumor broke, a different kind of leak surfaced. Not a photo. Not a memo. A voicemail. A fan account released a voice memo allegedly between two TLC crew members discussing scrambling to secure a timeline because she might annul and blow the whole season. Again, no names, but the she wasn't hard to guess. The memo ended with one crew member saying, "If she files before the reunion, we're screwed." The stakes weren't emotional anymore. They were contractual. Jenny's silence became power. She didn't need to speak. She just needed to act. That night, her Instagram updated again. No caption, just a photo of a wedding ring sitting on a closed passport. The ring was turned upside down. And the passport? American. She didn't say goodbye. She didn't post a quote. She let the photo speak. And it said everything Sumit refused to admit out loud. They filmed her walking into the embassy. That part was real. Cameras kept their distance, but the lens stayed focused. Jenny held a leather file in one hand, sunglasses covering her eyes, her lips pressed into a tight line. She didn't wave. She didn't acknowledge the crew. She walked straight through the gates without saying a word. Then the footage vanished. It never aired. Not in trailers, not in deleted scenes, not even in the subscription app's bonus content section. It was scrubbed so thoroughly that newer viewers thought the embassy visit was just a rumor. But those who had followed Jenny's story for years knew something real had gone down that week. Too real for TLC to spin. What she filed inside the embassy still hasn't been confirmed. Some claimed it was a formal fraud complaint. Others said she was trying to get documentation for legal recourse in the States. The speculation ran wild. But what mattered more was what happened after. Jenny came out, climbed into a rickshaw waiting near the entrance, and didn't look back. That ride was caught by fans standing across the street. One photo leaked within hours. It showed her clutching the same leather file, face flushed and jaw locked. The caption said, "She didn't go for answers. She went for protection." By then, production was panicking behind the scenes. One assistant editor leaked a private message confirming the footage had been marked as restricted. He wrote, "We filmed a full day. Embassy. Ride back. Emotional scenes. All of it buried. Legal flagged it as too risky." That one message set off a domino effect. Fan forums lit up. Viewers who once mocked Jenny's story began to ask real questions. How long had this storyline been covered up? What else had TLC erased in the name of protecting the brand? Other former cast members chimed in. One left a comment under a viral clip of Jenny's courthouse photo, writing, "If they filmed it and didn't air it, it's because the real story doesn't sell as easily as the love fantasy." Still, Jenny stayed silent. No statements, no interviews, no podcast appearances. Until she didn't. It wasn't People magazine. It wasn't a TV tell-all. It was a fan-run YouTube channel. A woman named Tara, who'd been posting reaction videos since Jenny first appeared on The Other Way. Small following, but passionate. And loyal. Jenny sent her a DM. Just one line. "Want to hear it from me?" Tara thought it was a prank. She hesitated to even open the message. But when she did, there was a 30-second voice note attached. Jenny's voice. Calm, steady. No filters. I'm tired of everyone else telling my story. I didn't walk away from a show. I walked away from a script. The internet lost its mind. Tara posted the full video the next morning. No monetization. No clickbait. Just a simple title, Jenny Speaks. In the video, Jenny doesn't cry. She doesn't yell. She speaks clearly. She says the marriage felt real, until she realized she was the only one treating it like a future. She admits there were signs she ignored. She confirms there were financial transfers she regrets. But she never says Sumit's name. Not once. Instead, she ends the video with one quiet sentence. When someone rewrites the truth enough times, silence becomes your only protest. The comment section exploded. She's been through hell and still sounds more grounded than anyone else on that show. She didn't drag him. She just dropped the curtain. Why does this feel more honest than 10 years of TLC footage? The views passed 200,000 in 2 days. TLC stayed silent. Sumit? He posted a single Instagram story the next night. A photo of a sunset. Captioned, "Sometimes the past needs to stay buried." Fans screenshotted it, then reposted it under Jenny's video with one comment. You buried her story. She resurrected it herself. That moment changed everything. It wasn't about legal action anymore. It was about reclaiming her voice. And this time, Jenny didn't need editors, producers, or scripted confessionals. She had one camera, one voice, and more truth in 5 minutes than a full season ever gave her. She didn't wait for a tell-all. She didn't wait for a reunion couch, or an apology, or one last fake storyline to justify staying. Jenny ended her story exactly how it began, on her terms, quietly but unmistakably. The final post landed without warning. A short, dimly lit video shot on a phone. No glam, no filter. She was seated in what looked like a hotel room, hair pulled back, no rings, no makeup, no tears. The caption said nothing. But the video spoke volumes. She didn't rehash timelines. She didn't list the betrayals. She didn't dissect the receipts. She didn't need to. The silence between her sentences was louder than any reunion fight or cast meltdown. I stayed because I believed in the story we built, she said. I thought love looked messy. I thought time proved loyalty. I thought forgiveness was a badge of strength. She paused, just enough to let the weight settle. But it wasn't love. It was maintenance. The word hung there. Maintenance of appearances. Maintenance of denial. Maintenance of his comfort. She didn't say Sumit's name. Still, not once, because she didn't have to. The truth is, I gave up too much to stay. And he gave up nothing. She looked at the camera. Dead on. Time is the only thing you don't get back. And he stole mine? No anger, no venom. Just clarity sharpened by disappointment. Jenny didn't mention the police report. She didn't confirm or deny the fraud allegations. She didn't address the property transfer or the legal spouse status. She let those questions linger, unanswered. She knew that mystery carried more weight than any paperwork ever could. Silence wasn't weakness anymore. It was control. I'm not going back. That was her last sentence. No goodbye, no thank you, no staged catharsis. She ended the video mid-thought. Her lips parted slightly, like she was about to say more. But the screen cut to black before she could. It broke the internet. Thousands of comments in under an hour. Fans called it the most powerful exit in franchise history. Some begged her for more. Others praised her restraint. The fan page that first posted her courthouse photo reposted the clip with a caption, "Jenny didn't walk out. She walked free." Meanwhile, TLC still said nothing. No statement. No acknowledgement. The next episode aired like business as usual. Sumit was shown in a montage, cooking, smiling with his cousin, talking about building peace. They'd cut her out entirely. That only made the backlash worse. A petition began circulating online demanding that TLC release unaired footage from Jenny's final 3 months. Within days, it passed 150,000 signatures. A new hashtag started trending. Hashtag #LetJennySpeak. But Jenny wasn't asking for airtime. She already got what she needed. Her inbox was full of media requests. Major outlets wanted exclusives. Her lawyer told her the attention could be leveraged into a book deal, a podcast, maybe even a spin-off. She turned them all down because she knew what they wanted wasn't her voice. They wanted her pain. And she'd already paid enough. Back in India, Sumit's page went dormant. He'd gone silent again. No updates, no selfies, no stories. People speculated he was hiding. Others said TLC advised him to lay low. A few even claimed Karishma had left town. None of it confirmed. None of it denied. And that's how the story closed. No big climax, no reunion confrontation, no official ending. Just absence. Jenny erased every couple photo from her page. She archived them all. Except one. A blurry shot of her walking through an airport, back turned, suitcase rolling behind her. She left the caption blank. But fans recognized it. The same outfit she wore in the fan photo, outside the embassy. This wasn't a breakup. This was an extraction. Viewers began stitching together timelines, matching the missing footage with her silent posts, linking legal documents, blurred faces, leaked call sheets. It became a puzzle, one the show refused to solve. And maybe that was the point. Because Jenny's exit did more than expose a failed relationship. It pulled back the curtain on how much gets hidden, edited, buried. It left fans wondering not just what else they missed in her story, but who's next? Who else has footage we're not seeing? Who else walked off set with more than they showed on screen? Which couple is about to vanish without explanation, the way Jenny did? And what happens when that silence starts making more noise than the show itself? Because when the cameras lie and the cast stops playing along, the real story starts after the credits roll, and you already know who we're watching next.